Hi, and welcome to Make It Monday. I'm Lisa Jackson from Sew It Saturday, and on Mondays I like to demonstrate different projects that are good for beginning sewers. Today we're going to make this very simple drawstring bag. It's an excellent practice project because it doesn't require a lot of fabric or skills, and after you make it a few times you can change the sizing and make bags depending on your needs. The first thing we do for any project is assemble what we need. And the first thing we're going to do is your materials. For this project, you need 2 rectangles of fabric. They should be 10 inches long by 7 inches across. What you want to pay attention to, so you're going to maybe use leftover fabric. So you might have a cute Elmo print or something from your favorite shirt that you want to reuse for this bag. What you want to make sure as we go along is you know where the top is. This is a non-directional fabric. It doesn't matter how I sew this, it's going to look right. This is a directional fabric. So these little crabs, if you have one going this way and one the other, your bag's not going to look very good, so pay attention to that. A lot of instructions as you begin to sew have some for non-directional and directional prints, and this is what they mean. They're just trying to stop you from making a mismatched bag. So we're going to go ahead to the tools that you're going to need, and the first thing we're going to need is fabric shears. I always tell you when it doesn't matter, and in this case it does. We need fabric shears. They are designed for fabric, and a lot of times they have kind of a flat way to cut, and because you're going to need them to cut the rectangles, you should get fabric shears. We'll also use them to snip thread, so you might have a little snipping scissors for that, but this will do both. Next, and it's kind of optional, but I would buy one of these when you can. These are pinking shears. So you may not want to finish your edges, but if you use this on your seams, this will prevent things from raveling, and it'll have a nice finished edge if anybody looks inside your bag. So this is optional, but whenever you can, I'd buy a pair of these. The next thing you're going to need is a ruler. And a kid's ruler is fine for this. You know, eventually you might want to have a little one and then a big yardstick, but to get started again, if your kid has a ruler, just use one of those. And then you'll need to mark your fabric, so I keep this simple as well. If it's dark fabrics, I use simple kids chalk, and if it is a light fabric, I use a pencil. They're both wash out, but no one's going to see this marking, so as long as it doesn't bleed through, you're fine with either one of these. Last, as far as a tool, you'll just need a simple drawstring. The ribbon for the bag is kind of small, so you want to keep this safety pin not too large, maybe a medium-sized safety pin to pull the ribbon through. So we have our rectangles, and we have a non-directional print. And again, when we do the marking, you want to remember which one is your top. So 2 inches from the top, I've marked it a line across. And what we're going to start doing is folding the top of this to make a nice little tunnel for your ribbon. Some people call it a channel, and some people refer to it as a casing. So as you sew, you'll know what they're talking about. So on both rectangles from the top, we want to mark a line 2 inches from the top all the way across. This is going to help you with your folding and with your sewing. And here's the folding, and I swear this is the most annoying part of this project. And we're just, as you're folding, just think about what we're doing. So what we're going to do first on both rectangles is from the marking in about a ½ inch, we're just going to do a little diagonal in. And we're going to do that on both sides. Now, if you're picky, you could iron that. But when they say to press these little things, it's just as easy to kind of press it firmly between your fingers. You'll get a good indentation, and it does the trick. Going back and forth to an iron is going to get annoying quickly. So you want to do that on both sides. And then next, you want to fold down about a ¼ inch. And then you want to fold down again to meet that marking. It's a drawstring bag. This doesn't have to be perfect. About a ¼ inch and around that marking is just fine. You just need to do it on both sides. So what you want to make sure is that they match. If it's not perfect, it's fine. If it's mixed match, it'll look that way. So when you're doing the folding, when you're finished, these folds should match. Again, it's a drawstring bag. No one's going to know if it's a little off but you, but it's good practice to get these things in line. So once you've done the folding, it'll look like this. And if you look at it when you're sewing and think about why you're doing it, it'll kind of make sense. This is a nice little, again, a little tunnel for your ribbon. And it's folded down to that line. We're going to do that on both rectangles. And when you're done, you're going to do one seam. And you're going to start from the top, from that folded edge. It'll just kind of catch that little diagonal fold and go all the way through so it catches the other diagonal fold. So this keeps a nice little tunnel, and then when people are looking at your size, they're not going to see a raw edge, which as you begin to sew more, that will annoy you when you look at a finished product. So this is what you want to do with that. We're almost to the end. Once you've done that for both sides, all you need to do now is sew down both rectangles together, and you just start from that 2-inch marking again, go down, across, and down again, back to the other marking. That's all you're doing. If you haven't pivoted before, this is good practice for this as well. To pivot, you're just going to sew all the way down this edge. And if you can see my sewing machine here, when you get to a corner, stop at a point where your needle is in the fabric. And when you've done that, you put up the presser foot, pivot, put down the presser foot, and you start sewing. That's how people change direction in a sewing machine so your seam stays the same. It's, again, good practice. Once you've done this seam, this is when your pinking shears come back handy. You're going to just finish that edge all the way around, and you're just going to kind of trim the seam that way. And on the corners, you just want to kind of do a diagonal. This will make a nice little pointy tip. It won't have a lot of bulk when you turn it inside out. This is, again, good practice for you to finish your edges in some kind of way, because you don't want this to be raveling. Somebody opens it up. You don't want anybody to look at it and go, ugh, what a mess in there. So you want to look as professional as you can, as early as you can. And you'll start taking pride in how that project turns out. And again, excellent project for this. The last thing you're going to do is just take your ribbon and feed it through. Put the safety pin on one side, go through the tunnel and back again, and then take the other ribbon and do it the other side, so you have ribbons on each side of it. And when you're done, you'll just knot the ribbons. So when you're finished, you'll have a nice little casing for your ribbon, so it looks nice if anybody looks inside. And you'll have a nice little way to cinch that bag. So you can see if you had shoes in it, like if you used a waterproof fabric for your running shoes when you come home from a race, fancy shoes when you travel. You can make this smaller for a jewelry when you travel. It's a lot of uses. Again, very kind as far as any mistakes. So again, excellent project for this. As you get a little bit more experience, you might want to embroider a letter here or make it lined so it's reversible. Again, a great project, great for practice, and you get really creative with it. If none of this sounds interesting to you at all, remember you can always book a party with Sew With Saturday, and you can make this with your friends. We provide all your tools and some snacks if you like, and we can come to your location or you can come to ours. We also have bags on our Etsy shop, Sew With Saturday, and please continue to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and www.sewwithsaturday.com. Thank you again for joining me today, and as always, sew on and so forth.